to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my line mate Matt with me. And today, we're going to go over some Blackhawks news. The Stanley Cup finals are over. Congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights, and some NHL news. So, Matt, some really surprising news that we got this week for the Blackhawks was Darren Pang is going to be the new TV analyst. I was not... I didn't think that there was going to be any changes to the booth. Did you? Were you expecting any changes there?
No, but we haven't really, heard too many things about Sharpie.
Yeah.
And I did, at first I was like, oh, I guess they don't want Sharpie, but apparently Sharpie was given this opportunity by Philly and he didn't want to turn it down. So It's not like they kicked him off to the curb.
Right.
And, yeah, man, I'm very glad that they brought Panger in because I'm a fan, big fan.
Yeah, I am too. And, it's being an analyst in the NHL is incredibly difficult. There's a lot of experience that you need to be able to do it successfully. And Panger's been doing it for a very long time. I think that he's much better than Patrick Sharp. And that's, no shade to Patrick Sharp, because as the year went on, I think that he got better and better at it. And I think if he were to stick with it, that he would continue to get better at it. But he got this new hockey advisor role for the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't think that there's really any room right now in the front office for the Chicago Blackhawks. But, maybe later on down the road. It's really funny, man. A lot of the fandom gets really upset when ex-players go off somewhere else, to do something. He got this opportunity with Philadelphia. People are upset. They're blaming the Blackhawks that he's with Philadelphia. What I have to say about that is that, a lot of these guys, they are looking for a career after after their playing career ends. And, being in the booth, you're driving around, you're flying around everywhere, you're still traveling, with the team. And, maybe he's sick of traveling, after doing it for a career, wants to spend more time with this family at home. I think what that advisor job does, it allows him to do that so that he's still in the game. He's still got skin in the game in the NHL, but he's also gets to have his home life as well, because I think he maintains a home in Connecticut with his wife, and that's much closer than it is in Chicago.
Yeah, man, he's got bills to pay too. And It's probably a better paying job and a new challenge for him. A lot of guys like the challenge of, I'm not sure what he's going to do. It's probably like a player development type of thing, or, like a kind of just analyzing talent, whatever. They just fill positions and stuff, but I'm sure he's going to like it. And like you said, he can get to the rink at a certain time and then, go home to the kids. He doesn't have to jump on a plane, and occasionally I'm sure he will probably have to, but it's not every 41 away games they're gonna have. So he's got two little girls, so it's probably better for him. And I mean, I'm not mad that the guy left. I mean, we traded for him for what was it, Matt Ellison, the guy who hasn't done anything. We got the better end of it. We got 3 cups out of that trade. So if he wants to go back and make a name for himself in the front office, good for him. I know Philly's done a lot of that. I think they brought Danny Briere in.
He's the GM now.
He's the GM. They had they brought in Torts, who's a winner.
Right.
I think Philly's doing the right stuff.
They got John LeClaire. They also brought him in as the same role as Sharpie.
The 90s rock star.
Yeah.
The Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Right?
He was I'll be honest with you, dude. He was a better scorer than Lindros was, and that's saying something.
Oh, Johnny LeClaire?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good line. I think it was LeClaire, Lindros, and was that Renberg?
There was 2 versions of it. There was one with LeClaire, Lindros, and Mikael Renberg, and another one with Brindamore.
Yeah, man, those were the days. Philly was a force in the mid-90s, man.
I
can't believe they didn't win a cup. I can't believe it.
Yeah, they always they had problems with
Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, Pittsburgh and
Mario,
and the Devils.
Yeah, man, those were great times. Johnny LeClaire was good on Team USA too.
He was.
Tony Amani. Amani
crazy.
Deserved number 10, man. I was pissed about
he
that.
was. He was. John LeClaire only had 406 goals, so I'm really surprised because he had multiple 50-goal seasons.
Yeah, a lot of those good number years, I'm sure Eric Lindros had something to do with it.
Yeah.
But, man, Yeah, he was a very good American-born player. It's good to see them. These guys are still around the game. I know Tony Amani is he's got the same role with the Panthers. He took it, mid-season, and
I would have loved to see him
in high school. Oh God, I would love to see Tony come back, even as an ambassador. God, it would be so awesome to see him at these games.
He's so beloved by fans that I'm surprised.
I talk about him too much, but yeah, he was my guy, man.
Dude, everybody loves Amani, dude.
Yeah.
It's like
Calgary,
like even today, like if you can, even though they're not here anymore, you can wear a Keith jersey, you can wear a Siebes jersey, you can wear a Taves jersey, you can wear a Roenick jersey, a Belfort jersey, an Amani jersey. Like these are like timeless jerseys that you can continue wearing, until the end of time.
I got my black one, the third when it just came out, my Amani number 10. Oh, man, I love it. I can't fit in it anymore, but still love it.
I got a Roenick one I can't fit in.
Yeah, I'm too fat now.
So, with Panger coming to the booth, do you think that the Blackhawks were looking for someone who had, so much experience that could maybe help Chris Foster's along in a way?
I'm sure, dude. This guy, he's got a lot of experience with so many different kinds of these play-by-play guys. Like, he's been with Doc Emmerich a couple times. I mean, occasionally he'll fill in. I see him in between the boards a lot. He's in between the benches.
Yeah.
And he's awesome at that too. And he's the guy, like, during real time, he's like an old check. Like, he can call something out, like, as it's happening, and he can really,
expound
make a
on
good story out of it. Yeah, he's like narrating a story, and he's just so good at it. And my favorite clip of him actually was when Belfort made that unbelievable diving save against Sergei Fedorov in the playoffs that one year against Detroit. He was holy jumping. I told you that guy's glove was working. Man, the Eagle, he's on tonight. Like, he's just a very likable guy. I don't think he's got too many enemies.
I don't think he does. I don't think he's got one.
No, and even St. Louis, I mean, he's been there. He was their guy for, man, maybe a decade, maybe longer. And
wow.
They had nothing but great things to say about him, even going to like the rival, but let's not forget, he was a Blackhawk first.
Oh, yeah.
As a player. He was a goaltender here first. And, like you said, when he retired, he was finding a new chapter in his life. He ended up kind of bouncing all over. And I'm glad he's back home because he's a very good analyst.
He's done a lot of, kind of alumni stuff with the Blackhawks over the years, though, as well.
Yeah.
So he's been recognized by the team.
I cannot believe he made that size. Like, what is he, like 5'6", 5'8"?
Yeah, he's a little guy, man.
Yeah, he was. I think Belfort is the goalie that kind of said, like, "Hey, you're done, dude. This guy's a stud."
Yeah,
and you didn't really see him that much anymore. But
yeah,
I know. I think he was. Was it the late '80s, early mid '80s? I think he was the guy, and just man, good for him though. I mean. 5'8", 5'9", making it to the NHL, that's awesome. But for me, he's going to be known as that good color guy.
So Patrick Kane, we mentioned it last week, had a hip resurfacing surgery.
Kaner, yeah.
Yeah, Kaner did. Now, what we didn't talk about was the history of players having a hard time coming back from the surgery. Not saying that he can't do it, but Ryan Kessler had the surgery. Ryan Kessler had multiple hip surgeries, and after this one, he never came back. And Nick Backstrom has had the surgery, and he hasn't been the same. I wonder, what is Kaner going to have left after he fully rehabs and has the surgery?
Yeah, man, it's just tough because those are two players around his age, and Kessler's completely done.
He's been done for years.
Yeah, it's a shame. He was such a good player. You love to hate him,
Yeah.
He's just,
unless you're on Team USA, I loved him.
Oh God, he was a stud. Him and Kane were good together.
They were great together.
A lot of rumors of him coming over here to play with Kane too.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Taves at center, number 1, Kessler with Kaner in line 2. God, I'd add on another 3 cups probably.
Yeah.
But just great wars with even the Canucks and the Ducks that one year, and yeah, man, it's a shame. He was a good American-born Selke-like center and just couldn't recover from that hip, and Nick Backstrom's another one, dude. This guy was an assist machine. Probably Ovi's favorite teammate.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I think Kaner is going to try. He's going to try to come back. I'm sure he's going to lose a step. And he's out for, 4 to 6 months? Could be longer. I'm going to be really surprised a team signing him July 1st.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be, if anything, I think teams are going to be very, very cautious with it. Like, let's see how he's skating, and maybe we'll sign him mid-season or something. But hey, somebody might go for it just because of the Kane name, and I still think Buffalo.
Man, yeah, I think that it actually works out for Buffalo because considering he's hometown kid, they sign him. They're like, all right, just come back, whenever you can, and we'll fit you in.
Yeah, for sure. I think he'll definitely bring a lot of fans just to see this guy, one of the best American guys ever. And you can put him on long-term IR, and it's not going to count until he comes back, so they can spend a little bit more.
Internet rumor: Taves is possibly interested in signing with the Oilers. I've been hearing this multiple times, and I don't think that it happens, man. I think that he's going to announce his retirement probably within the next month or so.
Man, I'm kind of surprised he didn't do it, after that last game. If he truly knew in his heart, I mean, I would love to see him jump right to the front office, get even like an assistant coach type of thing, just because he probably can't get away from being with the boys, Yeah. But I know Connor McDavid would be really happy having a guy next to him in the locker room speaking up.
Yeah.
Taves has been there. He's won everywhere. Team Canada, obviously with the Hawks, 3 cups.
Can you imagine that shadow he casts walking into that dressing room, though? Like a guy who's just done it, and these guys just can't get over the hump.
I think Connor would be so happy, dude, to have that guy, as a voice in there. Because I think Taves has gotten more vocal.
Yeah.
As he's gotten older.
Yeah.
You used the veterans when he was younger would kind of, like Sopel, the Sopels, the LaPointes. Guys like that would be speaking up, and they'd call him Captain Serious. He's too serious, and blah blah blah. But I think he's matured more, and I think he would definitely help McDavid out. If it were me though, I don't think I'd want to play in Edmonton. It's too damn far. The airport situation, I heard, every time you fly in Edmonton, it's an hour drive to the rink. It's like,
really,
oh, man, yeah, it's that little stuff when you're older, man. It's like, I'm sick of this shit,
When you're younger,
I want to go somewhere else. But I mean, if Taves is interested and he still wants to play and they throw money at him, maybe he'll take it. And he's a Canadian boy. I'm sure it wouldn't bother him, but I know it would bug the shit out of me.
It would, yeah, me too. I want him to retire a Blackhawk, man.
Yeah, I kind of hope it happens, man, but I think these guys got so much pride and they want to prove people wrong and kind of give him like, hey, that's what you get when you let me go. Like he has like a rebound season,
right.
So I don't know, dude. I don't know how I feel about it.
He might be having too much fun on the lake, man. Like, you know what? I've done everything. I've done everything that I can. I've done everything that there is in this league,
Yeah, he has. Selke, Stanley Cup, Conn Smythe. He's never going to win like a scoring title. So right. I mean, Messier Award, I think he won too, a leadership award, something like that. But he did. Top 100 player in the NHL history.
2 gold medals, 2 or 3 gold medals actually.
At tournament MVP, stuff like that.
Yeah, he did. He got the forward of the tournament award.
Yeah.
That's the season where even though that Sidney Crosby won that game winner, Taves got the forward of the the
Olympics. That was a great game, man.
Great game. Gosh.
Ryan Miller was a stud too, dude.
Can you believe what he went up against?
Yeah, the poor guy. Of course it's Sid.
Right.
Sid is the clutch kid. The golden goal.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So the Blackhawks have struck an agreement with Rush University Medical Center to buy near West Side property that will allow it to start a $65,135,000 square foot expansion of its practice facilities. Crane reported the new building will stand on a 7-acre site at 303 South Damon Avenue next to the Blackhawks Fifth Third Arena, which is, I think this is interesting because they are expanding their facilities. They are looking to make their facilities better, obviously with, Connor Bedard coming in, when you have people coming in and you're going to be, obviously they're looking to, rebuild this team into something. You want the facilities, you want it to be a destination. You want to come in and be like, yeah, we have good locker rooms. We've got a good medical facilities. We've got a state-of-the-art training room. Have you seen the Bears, workout facilities?
No.
Oh, dude, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, you definitely want a one-stop shop.
Yeah,
you don't want to be driving around all over the damn city to a certain facility. You want everything close, and I think that's what they're going for.
Right. So I think that this is a great idea. It was really smart of them to stop, build their first facility, the Fifth Third Ice Arena, moving away from Johnny's Ice House. I'm sure, it was a tradition, but, having your own facility with guys can just go to one place, I think is huge. And it's right across the street from the United Center too. So it's not too far from where you play.
Dude, do you think the United Center is outdated?
So, you know what? Before we get into that, I want to let everybody know that you can light the lamp this year for the hockey playoffs at DraftKings Sportsbook. The playoffs are over, but the bets still keep on rolling with football and baseball. I throw down some bets on baseball, win a little bit of money, but $5 bet, you score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/hockey terms. Now, back to your question. Is the United Center outdated? I don't know what more they can do to this place, man.
Yeah, true.
They've rehabbed the inside. They've done a lot other than building a brand new facility. Do I think that it's outdated? I'm going to say no, because of all of the upgrades that they've made on the inside. They've made a few additions to it as well. Brought the statues inside. And they even have a brand new shopping center in there now as well, and some dining and restaurants. So I think that they've done a great job of expanding the facility and making it more than what it was originally intended to do. I don't think that they could do any more unless they want to add some more additions to it. But if it's coming to that point, maybe they could talk to Jerry Reinsdorf, a guy who's notoriously penny pincher, and build a new facility for the Blackhawks and the Bulls. And if they did something like that, man, ironically, I think they would have to do it across the street from where the United Center is. Yeah, where the old building is.
Yeah,
and build a big new state-of-the-art facility.
I say this because, I see when, say the Red Wings are playing that Little Caesars Palace, whatever they call it.
Right.
Dude, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
They have rinks in there. They have the rink where the gameplay is, but there's more rinks in there, and there's you feel like you're walking into a mall. You know what I mean? There's shops. The Hawks got shops and stuff, but I feel like it's got that old school. There's food stands, they go straight up and you're here. You got the Madhouse bar they added and stuff. And
right.
The Bud Light Lounge, the suites. But I feel like the seats are a little outdated. You know what I mean? I guess it's minor. And the press box has kind of always been the same. And I've heard guys saying it's okay to watch a game up there, but there's better places with better, stuff. But I mean, they're just journalists. Who cares?
Sure.
But I know they've upgraded the locker rooms and stuff. I've got to see it. That it is sweet what they've done. But yeah, just these new rinks. Like obviously Detroit's got a nice one. Pittsburgh has a real nice one. I think Pittsburgh's is actually voted the best by players and stuff. They just got like better, like, you know, they got their saunas, they got all like the rehab stuff. Yeah. I just feel like it's a little outdated, but it's still an awesome place to go. It's loud, you know, and I'm sure all the guys that are older than us, oh no, the Chicago Stadium was way better. That place sucks, you know, and you know, we're probably in the future when the Hawks do get a new building, we're gonna be like, no, bring the United Center back, and we're gonna be whining about that. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's some good stuff that they've done, but just feel like it's just kind of old and just plain, you know, from the outside. It's just like boring looking.
Have you looked at some newer NFL stadiums?
I've seen the amazing Cowboys one. It's insane. That guy spends money though.
So there's, so in other words, I'm just using that as an example because, so before, you know, say maybe 30 years ago, a stadium was essentially somewhere that you went to just watch the game. That's it, you know. And nowadays it has turned into, when you go to a game, it's an experience. And
you eat.
Like, you know, the Bears, they're looking to, they bought this property in Arlington Heights, and they're looking to build, you know, some hotels and a mall and that kind of stuff at in St. Louis, at Busch Stadium where the Cardinals play, man, this beautiful, they have this beautiful building that they play in, dude, with red brick, and right across the street is a hotel, and there's you know, there's restaurants all around and bars, you know, it's all right there. It's like this little mini city of like Cardinals, and you know, it's like the Blackhawks need to, and the Bulls too. And I think that maybe because, you know, the West Side has slowly becoming a better place, thanks to the, you know, the Bulls and the Blackhawks, that they need to build some kind of an experience there, when like a little red and black town there. And the Cubs have done exactly the same thing that the Cardinals did. They've built an experience around the, you know, with hotels around the building. And I think that the Blackhawks win and the Bulls win. Eventually they do get a new building. Let's call it, dude, 10 years, 12 years. Do you think that they'll get a new building?
I think it's going to be longer. Just because all the money they spent into this now. I mean, they got their practice facility. Like you said, though, I think it would be cool to have like a hotel like that overlooks the game. You know, like you're in your room, you open up your window, there's like a balcony, and you can watch the game. Wouldn't it be cool?
Hold on. That would be
awesome.
I mean, that would be like,
the Tigers have that too.
Really?
Detroit. I think so. I think they have, and I know the Blue Jays have that. I'm not sure it's a couple of years, but you could see the game. I think that would be an awesome idea.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. But
it's going to be big bucks, but you know someone's going to pay.
Big bucks, but they would have to
fill it up.
They would have to build up a little bit around that area as well, getting some restaurants in there.
There's just nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing over there. It's not like Wrigleyville. There's bars. I mean, I personally like the rooftop atmosphere. I thought that was awesome.
It is fun.
And I know that they don't have as many now because there's that scoreboard. And quite honestly, they weren't paying the Cubs, were they?
No, they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, and Ricketts is like, hey, man, this isn't, you're going to have to pay to play here, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't blame him for that, but I mean, I know he pissed off a lot of people, but it kind of ruined the whole rooftop vibe. And I thought that was pretty cool. It was like vintage, you know, like old times. It's like, hey, let's go watch a Cubs game on the roof, you know?
Yeah.
But I think there's cool ideas that they should do, but they're, like you said, they're very limited. Like, what can they do? They're going to just keep building onto a parking lot, you know, like on the front and across the street. I guess you can figure something out. I think it would be cool to have like somewhat of an amusement type of park. Like you got hockey, like you got like a little 3-on-3 game you can get in on. You could do like the hardest shot competition, like accuracy. I think that'd be cool. And then, you know, you can have more shops there. People are going to spend more money.
Right.
But, I mean, I went to a Tampa Bay Lightning game when I was a kid, and they were actually playing at Tropicana Field, believe it or not. And they had a rink in there. They had rollerblades. Kids were playing 5-on-5, 3-on-3. They're having shootouts, and I'm sure they didn't make a lot of money, but it was fun, dude. And the team was terrible at the time.
Yeah.
Like, they had nobody. They had Darren Poopa, the goalie, in net. So they weren't really that good, but it was a fun experience. I still remember it.
When you leave a Blackhawks game, the first thing you do is head east, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you head east and, like, that's it.
Or you book it to 55 and you try to get home before the traffic's bad.
Right. So there's like nothing to do around there. They need to build up that area so that there's more to do, you know, after a game.
You go too far west, you're going to run into problems.
You're going to go a lot of problems.
A lot of problems. You got to go south or you got to go east. And you got to go south fast. And it's not that bad going straight south on Damon, but
yeah,
you know, I've parked on Adams, and I remember this guy, man. I wish I gave him a cone. I'm like, hey, dude, I want you to put this cone here. I'm going to be parking my car here. I'm going to pay you $5 every game. And this dude comes out, hell yeah, man, I got you. And he did. The whole 2010 season, this guy had his cone there, and we never talked. Like, we never talked on the phone or anything. We didn't have each other's numbers. I don't even remember his name. I think it was Gary. But anyway, he used to save me spots, and he's like, hey, man, after the game, I saw you going that way. You don't want to go that way. That's what he said to me.
Oh,
and
really?
I'm like, all right, I'm just going around the block. He goes, no, dude, you do not want to go around that block. All right, dude, I'll make sure I turn around then. He's like, yeah, I'll stop traffic for you. You go the other way. That's what he told me.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty rough in there, dude.
Oh, man. So the Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup final. Aiden Hill was a freaking animal for the Golden Knights, man.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
All four series, dude. He just was a complete freaking animal. Honorable mention, I'd like to mention Jonathan Quick is a 3-time Stanley Cup champion now. Remember when we were talking about him getting traded from the Kings?
The Last Dance.
Can you believe that, man?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? His teammate from the Kings is also a 3-time Cup, Alex Martinez.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good for him. He said he passed the cup to Quick, and he's like, I never thought if I won another Stanley Cup, I'd be handing it off to Quickie. And that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. Jonathan Marchessault was named the Conn Smythe Trophy winner and Stanley Cup MVP. Ex-Florida Panthers scored 13 goals and finished with 25 points in 22 games. I'll tell you what, man. I think Tkachuk still should have gotten it.
Yeah.
They would not be there without him.
True. And he was very good in the playoffs. Very good. But you know what? The last time I think a losing player won was, I believe it was J.S. Jaguar with the Mighty Ducks.
Wow.
Against Marty Brodeur in the Devils. And I think he was the last guy to get it. And that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I think that they're kind of, maybe it's an unofficial rule now, like, hey, the winning team gets the MVP. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. Tkachuk was a force. He was the story of the whole playoffs, man, for sure.
Mark Stone is said to have had multiple injuries. I'm not surprised because the guy's always injured. But they're saying that some of them could be somewhat serious and that he's going to need might need some attention over the offseason and might not play every game next season.
Man, yeah. At least he won, you know?
Yeah. They're pretty much saying that he pretty much left it all out there this season to win this cup.
He played very well that clinching game. He was shooting everything and it was going in.
Yeah.
And he looked good, man. He was making some good defensive plays too. I think he's got a bad back, and that's not good when you're a hockey player.
Yeah, you can't get away from that.
A bad back is always bad.
Yeah, it is. Tkachuk is recovering from a broken sternum, believe it or not. So, Matt, this is something I want to talk about, man. It's how much is enough? You know, where is the line drawn? Because they said that his brother had to help him get out of bed. You know, he couldn't put his own clothes on. He couldn't tie his own skates. And yet he's out there playing hockey. And yeah, sure, I get it. He's tough. I know that he's tough. But at where do we draw the line for professional athletes where it's like, hey, man, you're not playing?
mean, you know what? I'm sure the doctors said, "Hey, kid, we don't want you going out there. We don't want you going out there." And he's like, "There's no way you're keeping me off," And I'm sure, like he's a Kachuk. His dad's very tough. Brady's obviously tough, and his dad's probably like, "Hey, you're not going to be in the Stanley Cup final every year. This might be your last shot." Yeah. And maybe they're kind of pushing him. I don't know. He's probably pushing himself like, "Hey, I gotta be out there for my team." And I think obviously
his dad was probably like, "I never made it to a Stanley Cup final."
Exactly. Obviously, Game 6, I believe it was the clinching game was Game 6, right? Or was it 5?
I thought it was 5.
5. I'm sorry. So 5 was enough. They said, "Hey, you're not going. You're not playing." Maybe Paul Maurice, he had a good interview after the game. He said, "Yeah, this guy, he was super emotional. He couldn't do it. We need him. We need him next year, and who knows how long he'll be out for." He probably he pushed too much. He pushed too hard, and it's going to take a long time to recover. But don't forget, this guy just signed an 8-year deal?
Yeah.
And this is his first year. I mean, you need this guy still. This guy is the bread and butter of this team.
Clearly.
I mean, I think they made the right choice. If he couldn't play Game 5, which was a very important game for Florida. It was do or die. And they still didn't. He couldn't play. It's pretty serious because he's a Kachuk and he's tough. It must be really bad. So I think that his health comes first, and I think they made the right decision. I don't know how he felt in Game 4, but if it was the same as as his situation now, it's probably wasn't smart to play him. But it's up to the player too, and he's probably like, "Nah, there's no way you're keeping me off the ice." So,
yeah,
it's hard. We're never gonna know because we're not talking to the doctors, and we're not, and we're not with the Kachuk family. But your health comes first, especially when you're that young and you just signed a massive deal where this club is depending on you.
Right. Well. I have to tip my hat to him, man. Really, I don't want to. I want the guy to be around because he's entertaining, and I'd hate to
story
see
of the playoffs, man. Story of the playoffs. Best player, best stories.
Yeah. I'd hate to see him just throw it all away just because this one series.
Look at Mark Stone. I mean, same thing with him. This guy signed a massive deal. He might not even play next year. It's like shit. He went for it.
Yeah, he did, and he won.
He got it, yeah.
and ironically, Kachuk and Mark Stone are both groomsmen in Brady Kachuk's wedding this summer.
Oh, yeah, the Senators connection. Yeah.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Pretty cool.
So Ryan O'Reilly could possibly be looking to stay in Toronto. Matt, do you think that this is like a good place for him? He's usually typically, one of those guys who's always, sitting out because some kind of contract dispute or something. Do you think Toronto needs him? He is, I think, a missing link, similar to Matthew Tkachuk in Florida. I think Ryan O'Reilly is a missing link in Toronto. Do you think that they need to do whatever it takes to get this job done? Get this contract
for sure,
done?
But how? I mean, is he going to take a pay cut, or are you going to move a top core guy making a lot of money? I don't know how they're going to be able to do it.
Humor me. Let's say a top core guy. Which one?
If you can move him, I mean, I'd move Tavares. If
really?
I could, yeah. I'd rather have the youngster, Nylander. He shows up in the playoffs. And Mitch Marner's, I think, is better than Matthews.
Yeah.
And Matthews are going to keep him because he could score on command if he wanted to. If he really wanted to score 60 again, I think he could. But if you can move Tavares, yeah. Send him back to the island if you can, because do you think it's really necessary to have two top centers making over $13,000 or $12,000 or $12 million a year? And I just don't see the point of it.
Do you think it's just the contract that's the problem?
Yes, absolutely. He's a great player. I'm a fan of him, but it's like a Brian Campbell type of thing. I don't need Brian Campbell. I have Duncan Keith.
Right.
Why am I paying this guy $7 million when I'm paying Keith $5 to do the same damn thing?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And good for Bowman. I can't believe he was able to move him. He lucked out.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they're going to do Toronto any favors by moving that unless they eat some of the contract. But that's the guy I would move, quite honestly. And that's the mistake I think Toronto made. And that's a mistake I hope the Hawks don't make either when it comes to all these youngsters coming up. Because eventually they're going to have to pay him too. I just don't want them to be desperate and sign the best available free agent just because to make a move. And I think that's what Toronto did that year. But that's the guy I would move. And I have a feeling they're not going to be able to move him, and it's going to probably be Nylander on the move. And whoever gets him, they're going to be very lucky because he's a freaking hell of a player.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he really is. I would keep Nylander because he scores. He scores in the playoffs. He
scores in the season and in the playoffs, and he's a very skilled player. There's times where he'll look lazy and stuff, but I mean, okay, it's going to happen. You're going to have off nights and stuff, but I mean, he's younger, and his cap hit's decent. He's not making over $10 million like the other three, but not saying they don't deserve it, but it's just poorly managed. I think I don't think it was necessary to do that.
There's rumors that Dubas didn't have, free reign to make his roster, and that Shanahan would stop, some trades or moves that Dubas was making. I'm not sure how true this is, but this is all kind of coming out now.
Yeah,
we're really going to see if Dubas, completely retools.
That's a tough job, dude. That's tough. I mean, you move those, older guys, you're gonna get hated by the fan base because that's Sid and Malkin and Letang.
Yeah,
they can still play, but they're not going to be putting up the numbers they were in the 2010s and early 2000s. But
right,
that's a tough job because I don't think they've really done well with getting the next wave coming in. I think they're going to hit like a
rock bottom,
somewhat of a Hawk, like a Hawk rebuild type of thing once these guys start going.
That's that's kind of how it has to end for some of these teams, though, man. Because you can't. Well, I mean, in a way, like say with Detroit, once Datsuk and Zetterberg were hurt, and Datsuk retired, or he didn't resign, and then Zetterberg retired. Like that was it, man. It was the end of a huge era, and there wasn't a way to kind of retool that, And I think that the Penguins are gonna hit the same thing, where it's the end, and that's all that it is. It's the end. It's going to be a long rebuild, but this is how it goes.
Yeah, it's going to happen, man. Malkin he's hurt a lot. I don't know what he did this year.
He's been hurt a lot.
Obviously, Sid's a legend. His number will be retired the following year. But when Sid's gone, I mean, that's it. You're going to have to hit the reset button. And the problem with the Hawks is we held on too long to our older guys. They deserved it, out of respect for the cup runs they had, and Pittsburgh deserves it too. Those guys, those top guys on the Penguins. But in order to start over, you need to end the era properly and hit the reset button. And I think Dubas might be the guy to be able to do that.
Right. Really interesting, man. It's really interesting stuff. I want to see how that works out. The Breadman shaved his head, dude. Have you seen him?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He looks like a full-on KGB agent now.
He does, dude. Yeah. He looks like he's going to be starting a life of crime in Moscow in the Russian mob or something.
Maybe dude. Pavel Bure hired him.
He looks like the bad guy in a Bond movie.
Oh, he looks like the guy that guards the door for like guys like Sergei Fedorov and Pavel Bure. Like he's the guy at the steel door with a shotgun in or an AK-47
with a double barrel underneath his little trench coat there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, all right, everybody. That's all that we got for you tonight. Do us a favor. Follow us on Twitter if you have not. Shoot us an email or just message us on there. And if you have any questions, we'll put it out on here on the podcast, or we'll send you a message directly. We love talking hockey, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk, and we're out of here.